intend to talk to you today about how do the European the rules that are created for us in Brussels through the Commission affect us as members of the general public. Recently we were assisted greatly by a charming lady called Viviane Reding. Now I've had to write down her title. It's one of those things, you know, the longer the title, the more important the person. I think we'd all accept that. Or maybe we'd accept it with a certain amount of scepticism. Anyway, her title is the European Commissioner for Justice, Fundamental Rights and Citizenship. Beautiful. Whatever that means, I leave you to wonder. What she said was that 70% of the rules that we abide by, or the rules that are coming through the legislative system, have been worked out through the Commission, through Brussels, or indeed through Strasbourg. Her words, 70%. We in UKIP have been banging on about this for years. And what a wonderful thing it is to be supported by such an eminent politician as herself. I wonder, should we be asking whether she'd like to join our merry band and promote our cause? Examples. One of the examples I've got here is one that you'll have come across before. Prisoners' voting rights. Should prisoners have the right to vote? Fair enough, you say no. The European Commission says yes. Now I have this wonderful image of being a candidate for a local election, and in my ward is a large prison. So they've got the right to vote. Does that mean as a candidate that I'm allowed to canvass them? Does it mean that I can go to the, along with the other candidates, mind you, I can go to the prison and then I can say, excuse me, prison officer, but would you mind if I knocked on everybody's door and had a quick chat with them about their right to vote and try to actually get them to vote for me? Is that what it really means? Because that's my interpretation of it. Or maybe I'm being a little bit too imaginative. In Turkey, an issue of fishing comes about, the European laws on fishing. How has it affected our fishing industry, particularly around here? Just down the coast, Brixham. It has virtually destroyed the Brixham fishing industry. The off-quoted discards. Fish that are thrown back because they're above the quota. There was an issue recently, a couple of years ago, about angling from the sea, from the shore, or indeed small boats going out. Should those catches be weighed? Should they be, so that they could then be registered against the official fishing quotas for the country? Those fishing quotas, those laws, those rules and regulations have destroyed our fishing industry. They have come directly from Brussels. They have affected our lives, the lives of our fishermen. Mechanics. You might well say, well, what on earth is he going to say about mechanics? What I mean by that is new cars are covered with computer technology. I know that the car that I've got, I was very proud of it. Then I opened the bonnet and I just saw a black screen. I thought, where's the engine? Ah, well, it's all hidden away, sir, because the way to get at this is, you see that socket there, you plug your computer into the socket, and as long as you've got the right software, away you go. Ah, there's the catch, the right software. What about the independent garages that will be blocked from obtaining that software because the European Commission has been lobbied by the large car manufacturers so that they can actually put a block on the use of that software? It will affect the lives and the jobs of many of the people who are living in your community, my community, all of our communities. This is a direct effect of Brussels interfering in our lives. This is where I'm coming from. This is what I see as interference. I want control to be given to our Parliament to decide our laws, and so that we as a community can govern ourselves. Now, I brought with me a couple of visual aids. Where would a teacher be without visual aids? Sure, yes. The first one is a light bulb to light up your lives. This is an old-fashioned light bulb. Yep. It gave us a good light. It is not energy efficient. It uses 10 times more electricity than the fluorescent light bulbs. So I'm not trying to convince you that it's energy efficient, because it isn't. It doesn't last that long, but seeing as we live in a climate where there is a period where we do have high periods of darkness, and we want to light our own homes, our own sitting rooms, we need lights in them so that we can read. Hopefully, get our children and grandchildren to read, because we are being caught in a society where reading seems to be in for a dig. But I certainly, as a teacher, want to encourage it. Now, once we've got them to read, they need light to be able to read. This gives off a good light, particularly if you are using a 100-watt bulb. Legislation came through in 2009 to say that we want to phase them out. They have been replaced by, and I did have one somewhere and I've forgotten to bring it with me, a fluorescent energy-saving light. They're not as good. I think we'd all agree on that. They have been publicly acclaimed as being, oh yes, they're just as good, but that is not true. Certainly if I listen to my wife moaning at me because she can't see to read, and she is a devout reader of books, and she tells me, well, go out and find me a lamp that will give you enough light. Come on, you're supposed to be able to do something. Get out there. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yeah, I'll do my best, hunting around. But what about that light? What about that luminescent light? The first thing is that it's actually got mercury vapor in it. And that mercury vapor is regarded as being lethal. Obviously not in the amounts that are in that bulb. In that bulb is enough mercury. The fluorescent tube bulbs is enough mercury to put on the pin, on the head of a pin. It's not a lot, but it does give off a vapor. Now, think of the millions of bulbs that have been sold in Europe. In Europe, it is a population of 550 million. The market was cornered by Philips and by E.ON, and it was deliberately put in place because they were being undercut by China. And commercial interests were going on behind that decision. I question it, whether it is the right decision, and I accept there's arguments on both sides, but I come back to this point, who should make that decision? I strongly feel that that decision should be made by our government and not by an unelected group of bureaucrats in Brussels. That's me finished.